Yo, what up, everybody? My name is Drake Demore from the Win City Sports Podcast, and this episode of Cedric Ben's Combat Quarter is brought to you by the Win City Sports Podcast. Check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere podcasts are found, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or directly on wincitysports.com. Smell you later.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Cedric's Combat Corner number 18. I am your host, Cedric Ben. Today on the Triple C's podcast, we will be going over the featherweight championship of the world between Shakur Stevenson and Joet Gonzalez, and what exactly I took away from this fight, and what the future looks like for this kid, Shakur Stevenson. This kid only got 14 fights, and he already has a world championship already. So we'll get more detail into that. The boxing training focus of the week will be what I call high-low. This is something that if you're a competitive boxer, something that you can use in your fights, something that Shakur Stevenson was doing. And also, even if you're just someone that's, just boxing just for a good workout, something that you can add to your offensive repertoire that you do on the bags. All right, let's get right into it. So, starting first with the challenger, Joet Gonzalez. Oh, actually, I should probably mention this a little bit before. It's always a good match between two opponents when they legit don't like each other in real life. Sometimes guys try to, talk a little bit of trash in the lead up to the fight just to help promote it. And also, the main purpose of trash talking is to get into your opponent's head, because you can't, even though boxing and MMA are violent sports, you wanna have controlled aggression when you're in your match. Controlled aggression, not just wild. It's just like it doesn't matter how angry or it doesn't matter how angry or upset you get. Being angry or upset is not gonna help you fight any better, any smarter. It'll give you a little boost of energy, but that's not gonna last during the course of a fight. So, with that being said, there was a little extra trash talking during this match. Shakur Stevenson is dating Joet Gonzalez's sister. So, that turned out for some interesting trash talking during the lead up to the fight. You can just YouTube it and see the interesting stuff they were saying. Anyways, with that being said, let's get to the fight. To give you a little background on each guy, so starting with Joet Gonzalez first. And just in case you think I'm pronouncing his name wrong, it is Joet. It's not Joey, it's Joet Gonzalez. This guy is 26 years old, from Los Angeles, California. He turned pro in 2012. He is currently 20. He was coming into this fight undefeated, 22-0. He has 14 KOs in his 22 matches, 58% KO ratio. And he was on a little hot streak lately. In his last 10 matches, he has 8 KOs. So he was coming into this one feeling good, feeling confident in himself. Now on to Mr. Stevenson. This guy is I'm going to explain to you right now while I really feel confident that this kid is going to have a bright future in this sport. He currently only has 13 fights and was in his championship match already. Usually guys wait until when their number of bouts is in their 20s before they get their first shot. And even before that, I couldn't find any background, amateur background on Joet Gonzalez, but I already knew the research on the background research on Shakur Stevenson. And so just give you the history from beginning to beginning, because this guy has been on a fast track from the day he started boxing, and it's all been looking good so far. This guy Stevenson, he won a silver medal at the Olympics in 2016. Obviously, that's a great accomplishment, but what makes it even better is his path that he took to get there. Just to give you a quick brief athlete's education here. They say, if you've never heard, there's something called the 10,000 hour rule, in which they say to make it to the highest level in any sport, not just sport, but whatever you're doing in life, it takes 10,000 hours. And that comes to 3 hours a day, 6 days a week for 10 years. The 10,000 hour rule. You can Google that. This kid Stevenson, and as far as, and that's not even guaranteed. That's those 10,000 hours is just to make it to the highest level. That's not guaranteed that you're gonna win. Okay, this kid Stevenson had his first amateur fight in 2012, and 4 years later, he was winning a silver medal at the Olympics. And then just a couple of years later, 2019, he's winning his first championship bout. His full career hasn't even been 10 years yet, let alone the 10,000 hours. So he won a medal at the Olympics after just boxing for 4 years. Just 3 years after that, he's winning his first championship belt. This kid, and this is not a case where it's just a talented kid. You don't win a silver medal at the Olympics and a world championship fight just by being talented. That's a combination of talent and work ethic and skills, I should say. Skills and talent. And you're not going anywhere if you don't have good work ethic. Okay, what I took away from the fight, again, this kid Stevenson, he has talent, man. This kid's talented. He fought a guy with more experience, more fights, and he did very well. I think he did a great job of fighting from the outside. Now, I listened to a few different boxing shows, and there was a few people that had I guess you can call it constructive criticism for it. It sounded a little bit more like the criticism part. But some people were complaining that because he didn't show the willingness to fight on the inside, that means that he didn't have it in him. I personally don't believe that. I think he didn't have to fight on the inside, again, because he didn't have to. Now, I'm sure he will learn fast if he doesn't know how to fight on the inside yet. Remember how I just explained to you all the things that he's accomplished in such the little time that he's been in this sport. And once again, that's not just natural talent. That's skills too, to do the things that he's done. So, at 14 fights, if he doesn't feel comfortable fighting on the inside yet, I'm confident that he will be able to pick that up very soon. Same way he was able to pick up his skills in the other parts of his boxing game. And my other thing is this: just because someone doesn't look like they're willing to fight on the inside doesn't mean that they can't. But more importantly, and just want to get into this just for a few seconds right now, he doesn't have to. My personal thing as a coach, I'm not one of these coaches that thinks if you're clearly winning the fight, you should still take a chance and put yourself in more danger trying to get the knockdown so the crowd could get excited. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in taking more dangerous chances just to please the crowd. I believe in winning the fight, get your paycheck, go home safe to your family. Not go to war for the crowd, then your family has to come visit you in the hospital after. No. Let's win, be safe, go home. And then you might hear a few critics out there, not a few, but a lot of critics that really don't know about boxing say stuff like, well, if you want to make real money, you have to do stuff to please the crowd. That's not necessarily the case, man. Like, yes, of course, if people are extra excited to see you, that's more people that want to watch, so you make a little bit more money. But come on, man. People complain about plenty of guys during their career, whether it was Floyd or Andre Ward. I look at Andre Ward because people hated Floyd, but he still made close to $1 billion. Andre Ward, people complain about how boring he was and this and that. Oh, I'm sure he's still cool with his 30 million that he has in his bank account. Now, someone might say, "Oh, well, he only has 30, but he could have made like 80." Well, whatever, man. I'm sure he's good with his 30. All right. Once again, go home safe to your family. Not be in the hospital for a few days because you went to war for the crowd. Yeah. Okay, now for the BTF boxing training focus of the week, we will be focusing on high-low. I'm going to have a video for this up on my YouTube page in the next couple of days, so look out for that. But high-low. Again, this is something that if you're a boxing competitor, something you can add for your fights, or if you're just someone looking for a good workout, something you can add for your offense when you're hitting the bag. So simple. Jabbing to the head, straight cross to the body from a distance. Jab to the head, straight cross to the body. Or you can do it the other way around too. Something like you can throw a straight cross first to the head and then step in with a left hook or uppercut to the body. But we're going to stick to the first one, high-low, jab to the head, straight cross to the body. This is one of the things that Shakur Stevenson was doing great in the fight. And this is something specifically that you would use on an opponent that's just trying to walk you down. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can use this on any opponent, even on a boxer that's staying on his toes and moving. If you can catch them with that, you can still land it. But this is most effective, this high-low. This is most effective on a person that's mainly that's trying to like literally walk you down, keeping their hands up and trying to cut you off in their boxing stance. It might not hurt them, but it'll definitely slow them down from just walking you down. And then you can pick them apart in your other ways. Now, this is the reason why this really stuck out in this fight to me, what Shakur Stevenson was doing with the high-low. Just in general, most people watching fights only notice body shots if it's a significant punch, like, you know, if you really hurt it and you see like a slight negative reaction out of the person that's receiving it. When you do the high-low, because unless you can really time it. And one thing I forgot to mention, it doesn't always have to be a jab first. You can come right down to the body with a straight cross, as long as you disguise it a little bit better. Don't wind up your arm. Make sure it's coming from turning your hip and pivoting your foot, lunging down onto that front leg. But when you start the process, if you're just going to throw the straight cross, you got to make it look like you're coming up to the head. You can't just come down to the body, because then the person will just time you and counter you right away. Make it look like you're coming up to the head first and then come down. So with that being said, it doesn't really stick out too much if you're slowing someone down. The slowing down part doesn't really stick out, because if the person's not reacting to anything. So an interesting statistic that I found that I didn't even realize watching the fight until I saw it on the screen. Going into the 8th round, and it was only a 10-round fight. Going into the 8th round, the number of body shots landed for each fighter was 32-6 for Shakur Stevenson. And there was no point in time where he significantly stayed on the inside and tried to bang with him. At no point in time did I see that. They did get tied up a few times. Might have threw 1 or 2 punches to get out, but it was no significant inside body work. So when I saw that statistic of 32 body shots landed for Stevenson and only 6 for the opponent, that's what made me realize. I already saw the high-low multiple times during the fight, but that's what really made me realize how effective it was. Because as the fight went on, Gonzalez was just less and less effective, and Shakur was just picking him apart. Just I'm starting with that. It started with the high-low, and then fake the low, come up with a hook to the head right away, and just mixing it up like that. Being accurate with your punches. They both threw this about the same amount of punches, but again, the difference in landed punches. Shakur going into that 8th round, it was 74-35 as far as landed punches. So just to show you where his accuracy was at, and like I said, they both threw approximately the same amount, close to 300. Yeah, so high-low. So practice that. If you're just doing it on the bag, if you're practicing on the bag, jab to the head. When you're coming down to the body, make sure you lunge your whole body down, not too much, but don't just aim downwards when like your legs are still standing straight and you're just aiming downwards. You have to get to the same level, jab to the head, and then get to the same level to throw that cross to the body. Yeah. So yeah, man, that's it. If you haven't heard of this Shakur Stevenson, make sure you follow him. And if you never heard of him, make sure you remember where you heard it first. This kid only has 14 fights, but he's been on the fast track his whole boxing career. I don't like to go out on the limb and say these things in case I look stupid later on, but I really believe this kid could be special in the future, man. I really think he has that it factor, as they say. Shakur Stevenson, make sure you remember that name. Yeah. Cedric Sports Training. If you have any questions or anything you want me to add to the show, please hit me up on any one of the social medias at Cedric Sports. Oh yeah, I might not do this every week, but if there's a big fight coming up, I'll make a quick prediction. So this coming Saturday, November 2nd, we have the Crusher. Well, I guess people don't really look at him as the Crusher anymore. He hasn't really looked like the Crusher lately. Sergey, the former Crusher, Kovalev versus Saul Canelo Alvarez at light heavyweight. Much respect to Canelo for stepping up. This guy started his career at 154. Now he's moving up to 175, man. That's big, man. That's big. My prediction is Canelo wins by late round stoppage. Actually, you know what? No, I changed that. Canelo wins by unanimous decision. That's what I'm going to go by. I believe he's going to hurt Kovalev late in the fight, but Kovalev will survive and Canelo will win a unanimous decision. I don't see a split decision. I see Canelo winning by unanimous. So there you go, my first official prediction on the Triple C's podcast. Yeah. All right, man. I'll catch y'all next week. Shout out to Win City Sports. Yeah.